Hello, everyone. This is episode 6 of Here Comes the Pitch, a podcast about pitching story ideas. Today's guest, Derk Harron, the co-owner of One Up Games in Mesa, Arizona, will be pitching a psychedelic comedy that's comparable to such films as Inception and Half Baked. I'm your host, Derk Harron, and without further ado, here comes the pitch. Alright, check.
Balls in the mouth.
We're picking up.
This is the third Misfit shirt I've seen today.
Third Misfit shirt you've seen today.
Yes.
I'm gonna grab a bottle of water too.
I hope you creamed my coffee well. This looks dark.
Yeah, man, I brew it pretty strong.
Yeah, I can smell it.
Actually, Jay was over here, and he did a podcast with me, and
How'd that go?
it went good. You know, I just pitched to him.
Oh my gosh, dude.
What?
That's some fucking strong coffee. My arm starts going numb, then you know why.
I don't know, man. I think that I just add a little bit of creamer, and then I'm good. I enjoy a strong cup of Joe. He actually had to dilute his. He was just like, I can't drink this.
Yeah, it's pretty dick and balls. Gross. But
I don't know, man. So
don't quit your day job. No, it'll wake me up. There we go.
yeah.
But I don't know if I want to be awake right now because I'm pitching you this story and it's a fucked up tale.
All right. Well,
But how have you been, man?
good. You know, just
Are we recording?
yes, we are.
Internet, hello.
Just enjoying life, man. Like I buy a lot of comic books, so that's what I do. I do a lot of reading. So
Everybody's gonna hear me sucking on my metal rod.
yeah, you're a vapor. Hey, you know what? Like they just proved that vaping gives you cancer. So
Fucking depressing. I'm doing this so I don't get cancer, and they're like, now you're gonna get cancer at 36.
well, they just proved it.
Well, fuck. That's great. They just proved it.
I'm sure that they'll come
That's like
out.
shit news on an already fucked day. I already told you, man, it's gonna be a sweary podcast, man.
That's fine, man.
So, okay, because I walked into your place and I'm like, man, so I get to the store and like within 1 minute of turning the open sign on, you know it's gonna be a shit day because first phone call you get is this guy. And he's like, you guys got Game Boy Micros? Talks just like that. No, man, I don't have any right now. Sorry about that, buddy. You know, you guys got any PS2 remote controls for the DVD player? He's fucking breathing into the phone.
Now you're talking about your store.
My
One Up
game store, One Up Games. Yeah, fuck it. Sometimes I hate that place, man.
Well,
But this guy, he's just like, and there's people already in the store. Like I open up at 11 o'clock, and there's already people in there. I'm trying to set shit up. Okay, well, do you guys have the connection cords for an Xbox 360 Connect? And I can just picture this guy like fucking fingering his belly button at his house, like asking me these questions. It's like some creep. And this shit goes on for like a minute. He's just asking me, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing my job, so I don't want to sound like to a bunch of people out there like, why the fuck are you complaining? You're doing your job.
yes.
You can tell when somebody is fucking with you. This guy was being a douche. And then I'm basically like, I don't know, man. You just got to come in and see what we've got.
Well,
and I said this on the phone. I'm like, shit changes all the time.
Right.
And people know when you come into my store, like, I swear and stuff.
Yeah.
Kids come around, I'm chill.
Right.
I know how to work with kids. But he's like, okay, bye. 2 fucking minutes later, he calls me back. I mute the phone. I'm not going to deal with it. For the next 20 minutes, every 2 minutes, he just kept calling the store. I finally answer it and I go, One Up Games. Don't even say like, "One Up Games, this is Nick."
Yeah.
Jubilantly, like happy. I'm like, yeah, you're open, right? Dude.
So.
Oh my god. And it's just like this fucking jerk off just set me in a bad mood all day, and it's just like, oh, you shouldn't call, he's a customer, you shouldn't call him a jerk off. Fuck you. If I am offending you, then you're probably a jerk off too, and I don't even want you in my store. If you're a decent person, you'll come in and you'll know that we'll talk to everybody, man. Tim and I, we're like the nicest dudes.
Right.
We love our job. We hook up people all the time, and we talk, have conversations that should go on way less in time than what we do. We can rant, man.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that, that it comes down to is that, like, it's your store. You can serve to whoever you want to.
Drink this coffee.
So, it's...
And I don't, dude, we've got some creepy guys who come in, but at least it's just like, God, they're creepy, but they can at least talk right.
Yeah.
As I can't find the words to tell about how fucking angry I was getting with this guy.
Yeah, but sometimes I think people...
Oh, yes, it's just equally as disgusting as before. Coffee.
Should I put more cream in it? I don't know.
I need that hot cream.
But I think, sometimes there's weirdos that, like, are like border autism, border Asperger's, and it's just like they don't know how to communicate other than their weird fucking way that they communicate.
Communicate with GameStop.
So, yeah.
No, I mean, and dude, we've got those people who come in and they're cool, and I've had classes with my other job that I've taught just autistic children,
right.
Like where you have to have the most patience ever, and you can see them do incredible things, and it's just like, wow, man, this is awesome. This guy was just being a dickhole, so fuck him. And
well, I'm sorry you ruined your day, man.
You didn't ruin my day. It's just you ruined most of my day. Now that I'm here and I want to tell you about my fucking story, man.
Nice.
How do I top the possibility of like intergalaxy resort shenanigans that we talked about last week? It sucks, man, because I was supposed to come here on Monday. It's Thursday. I apologize for working.
Yeah, no.
All right, man. So here's my pitch.
All right, we're getting into the pitch.
Now,
here comes the pitch.
People, you got to get in the right mind state for this. I was fucking high as hell when I came up with this one. Gosh. Really, really stoned.
I almost feel like I gotta cut all of that out just because, my wife is gonna hear this, probably my stepson.
I got my card, man.
Yeah, but...
It's 2018, dude. Welcome to the cause. But...
Okay. Let's divulge.
Cut it away. Cut all that out. My inspirations for this, besides the cannabis, I'm looking for kind of like a Little Monsters meets Ready Player One meets Nightmare on Elm Street, a little bit of Bright, and a little bit of Shaun of the Dead. Now, where the fuck do you think I'm going with this?
Okay, yeah,
that's a lot of different stuff right there.
Yeah, that's a wide range of movies.
You could even throw some Westworld in there too.
Have you seen Westworld?
I've watched a few episodes. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I feel
I'm trying to do that, and I also want to get into the Mirror I saw on Netflix.
Oh, Black Mirror.
Black Mirror on Netflix. Heck yeah. Juggling.
Yeah, I felt like Westworld didn't pick up until like the 4th episode. It was like, I felt like it was one of those series that was just like too long to get to a point.
Right.
And then, sure, the final episode was like, all right, that was a good way to end it. But now I'm just like...
They're starting up season 2.
They're starting up season 2. I'm not really excited about it. Like, I thought that would be a great way to just end the series. Like, it should just be like a 10-part miniseries.
Fuck, I gotta watch that.
So, but we'll see where it goes. I don't know. It does leave it open for the story to continue, but like at that point, it's like, it's just kind of like this tropey, rise up kind of thing. And so, like,
well, while I'm pitching you this idea, if I get off topic too crazy down the rabbit hole, pull me back in, and jump in with ideas.
That's one thing that I like to talk about with people's pitches is how it relates to other stories too. So, you know, I'll break in every once in a while.
Awesome. So I don't really have a title, but I have a place.
Maybe we'll find a title.
I'm leaning towards Sub-C Prime. Sub-C Prime.
Okay.
Which is subconscious prime. It's an alternate reality which a group of teenagers at a very young age decide to smoke fucking cannabis for the first time. So you get introduced to these characters at a young state. Definitely some like funny fucking dialogue of just a bunch of guys hanging out. You got all your stereotypes. You've got the stupid one. You've got the intellectual one who's probably going to go someplace. And that's the person that I'm really following with this story. It's the nerd of the group that when he smokes this weed for the first time, he passes the fuck out. And he goes to this place, but he just gets a glimpse of what he later names Sub-C Prime. Where, while he's blacked out, he's seeing this whole freaking weird world that's going on within his subconscious is what he's saying, or he could just be dreaming. But he loved it. He loved the feeling that he got while he was there, the smells, everything. And he also feels like he's been there for days, if not weeks. And this is all taking place while he's passed out for about 10 minutes and all of his friends are pulling out cell phones and he's like in a drool state and they're videotaping it and fucking with him, but they're also high for the first time. But when he comes back, he tells them what he sees. This is just the intro. You haven't even gotten to the name of the movie. That's what all of this is. Like within 6, 7, 8 minutes, you're already hit with all that.
Yeah.
Boom. Years later, this kid, still in touch with his friends, maybe not some as much, just graduated college. He's a freaking genius. Biologist. He could be a, a herbologist? Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know that's a fucking thing. But anyway, on the side, he's been researching this. He's been researching diet, the type of foods that you should be eating to help this high once you smoke, to see if he can get back to Sub-C Prime. And he does. And he keeps pushing his boundaries, which is kind of a little bit like that fucking movie with that Juno girl where they were trying to like kill each other. It's like, I'm going for 8 minutes, and I never saw
Flatliners.
Yeah, I never saw the flick, but I was like, that is interesting.
Well, did you ever watch the original one?
No.
The Joel Schumacher movie with Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, Stephen Baldwin,
before his Batman run.
Kevin Bacon. I think it came out. He made it right after Lost Boys.
Oh, okay.
So it was a good movie.
Heck yeah.
So that's why I was really kind of looking forward to the new Flatliners. I heard it wasn't very good, but I also heard it was kind of like a sequel, like because I hear Kiefer Sutherland's character from the original one is in that movie.
Well, when I even saw that trailer, because this is an idea that's kind of been like in the back of my mind, because I love watching those movies like Inception or Alice in Wonderland, or even like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, where even with Bright, and Bright was the reason I just finished watching Bright. I like it when there's no rules. When you can show people things they've never seen before. Now, with Subconscious, with all these people who are doing all these DMT trips and posting their experiences, we're talking scientists, going on YouTube and discussing their, God, you're fucking drinking that coffee. I don't know how you just did that.
That
is crazy. That is like pure diesel fuel.
I might end up drinking yours.
By all means, if you can and your heart doesn't explode.
I'll drink it.
What the fuck?
Dude, it's...
But all these people are like online saying these similar experiences. Like when you hear even like a pothead like talking to another pothead, and these are comedians. Like Joe Rogan made a joke while they were talking. He was just like, yeah, man, and I was so fucking high, then I started talking to dolphins. And then he looks over to Tommy Chong, and Tommy Chong's smiling and just shaking his head, like in a plan, like agreeing with him. Like they have this mutual, like, I've been there too, bro. Well, now we're going to be goofy, because I don't want this to be a super serious film. I want this to be funny, kind of a Shaun of the Dead feel.
I already have a title for your movie.
Okay, here we go. Because Sub-C Prime doesn't get a lot of fucking asses in the seats.
What about Kron? It almost sounds like Tron a little bit.
But chronic.
Yeah.
I just got it.
Because I see the Ready Player One scenario. I also see it's almost like half baked.
Let me get there.
Okay.
Because then we can go in with the whole ideas. We can put the spices on.
Kron Legacy.
That's a straight to DVD, right there. That's a Turbo Kid.
You wouldn't believe how many
which is awesome,
like weed related movies go straight to DVD.
Oh yeah, man.
So
did Half Baked even go to the fucking movie theater?
Yeah, it did.
It did. Okay.
Well, it didn't get a, it wasn't in theaters for very long.
So anyway, this guy, he goes to college. He's been doing all these studies kind of on the hush-hush because he's very smart, but whenever he broaches this topic, he's not received well by his peers because this guy is like a fucking genius. So he decides that with his buddy, and even you can even give it like a Simon Pegg if you want to put a face on this thing, and you can have a Nick Frost.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever actually want like the whole trio of having like Edgar Wright directing it, because I don't want to direct this fucking movie. I just want the story.
Right.
Give it to David Ayers. I think he did great with Bright, and I think he's a funny dude. He just got fucked over with Suicide Squad, man. But anyway, he takes this guy from college who really believes in what he's doing and who has also had the exact same experiences getting to Sub-C Prime, to this place where they're actually tripping at the same time and experiencing the same things, seeing the same things at the same time. But it's hard to do. So he decides to get back together maybe with some of his old friends because they just had this like childhood bond. And he's got this good bond with this guy. And they decide to go further. Now they're fucking with mushrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, all the types of weed. But they have to figure out what they're supposed to be eating and whatnot, how much their body fat index, all this. And it sounds nerdy, but it's just to like kind of show that these guys really are trying to get to this place that if you just smoke weed, you're not going to get to. You might get lucky and get a glimpse of it.
Right.
But you really want to experience Sub-C Prime.
Well,
and that's where you can get weird with the storytelling and with the
it
imagery.
It seems like that you have to find some kind of chemical balance.
Exactly.
And so, of course that takes time. It takes research, and also, depending on how, big you are or little you are, like that depends on like how much you need to take.
And isn't like with Westworld, it's all about like how you can enjoy your greatest fantasy through subconsciousness, but with like a machine that like takes you into your fantasies.
Well, no, you're in the physical realm of it,
right?
Like there's no like you're not shipped into a computer program or something like that. It's not like the Matrix.
No, I'm not saying that. But this is giving you like the opportunity to see this stuff. I say,
yeah, but I assume that you're like in like a comatose state with this weed that you're smoking.
Basically, because you're blacked out.
Right.
And what kind of like with the Inception idea where like if you're sleeping for like a minute, that's an hour in the dream or whatever like that. Or vice versa. I think it's vice versa. Like what seems like a minute, maybe you've been sleeping for 2 hours. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's like if you're in the like whatever the first step of it, or then that's like an hour. Like a minute is in real time is like an hour in the dream.
Okay.
And then like going down to the next step, then that's like more like 10 hours, and then it doubles again to where it's like now it's like 100 hours.
Right.
The further you go into the subconscious.
Right, and that's the basis of this. But once they get there, they're experiencing stuff that their body cannot handle. Now they're tapping in to the other 92% of your brain's potential. And it's magical, where they can be fucking gods.
I got another title for you. Weedception. We got Kron, and now we got Weedception.
Interesting. I like prawn better. Weedception just seems like you're fucking making fun of it.
No, but dude, that's the silly part because they're like, if you think about it,
I wouldn't want people to see the movie.
Tommy Chong, like
right.
he has this like where he actually like came up with this idea. He's been a producer of like this whole franchise, but it's called the Evil Bong. And it's like where there's this evil bong that has came to life, and like when you smoke out of it, you die.
That's awesome.
And so, and I think they're like up to like Evil Bong 5.
Well, I told you that there's this movie that's coming out that I can't really talk about because it's brand new. But there's a movie that's coming out. It's another video game related movie, like Ready Player One, about a game that if you play it, fucked up shit happens. An old video game.
Yeah.
But with this, just experiencing like what you could do when there's no rules.
Right.
Talk about your aliens and colors and sounds and shit that just like you go to and then you can like have to figure out ways of learning how to control Subsea Prime once you're there. Figuring out like how to even just move in Subsea Prime, because like the first time he goes there, he could be like a fucking flower on a tree. That Jennifer Lawrence comes over and starts smelling you, and then you have a conversation as a flower to Jennifer Lawrence, and then she just says, "Oh, I gotta go," and jumps on a fucking rocket ship that's shaped like a banana and just takes off. Weird shit.
Okay.
That makes no sense, but is great. It doesn't cure cancer, but maybe it does. And that's the thing, like where your mind is what's controlling how your body feels.
Right.
So if you're in absolute like euphoric state at Subsea Prime, you're healing your body. So there's actually a fucking point to the movie. Not just a bunch of stoners who want to get fucked up beyond belief so they can have a good time and giggle about it with their friends later. Yeah. Maybe there's a benefit to getting there. But there's also got to be a danger by going that far. And that's where we meet the fucking villain.
Okay.
The Poodle King.
The Poodle King.
So this is the part of the story that comes from personal experience.
Okay.
I got fucking high as hell. You can have to edit that out. Sorry, man.
I think that we've gone past the point of like editing anything.
Nice. No censorship.
Well, dude, your whole thing is about like smoking weed. So I think
I'm so proud of that.
Okay.
The Poodle King. I experienced the Poodle King on a few occasions now. And the Poodle King is weird. So this part where it's like you're just tired at the end of the day, you smoke a little, and you start to kind of like you're sitting in a chair and you're dozing off. And I always like look up at this light on my porch. And when you close your eyes, you can still kind of see the light.
Uh-huh.
I think I might even talk to you about this before.
No?
I talked to it with my mom.
Okay.
With our mother. Because she's witnessed it. She thinks it's funny. I start seeing things with the lights if I keep my eyes closed. And they start forming an image. And this image is this half-man type machine with a fucking poodle face. And the voice of this thing that talks to me is Tom Hanks.
Interesting.
Yeah, that or my weed's laced with some shit. And
so
I've actually heard this thing talk, and it's Tom Hanks's voice, and it tells me to stay away.
Yeah.
And it's weird, and I sound like a fucking weirdo, and it's cool because there's going to be like 16 people out there who have also seen this Poodle King. Or their rendition of what I'm going at.
Poodle King. Did you
He's
ever,
the big bad.
Did you ever watch True Detective Season 1?
Yeah, man. You let me borrow your DVDs.
So you know, like, about the Yellow King. Like, that...
The thing, like, that was about drugs?
Well, yeah, actually it was, because...
Should have lost that.
Because the little girl that gets raped, and for that whole... I don't know, like the seance that they do, they
give her like a ridiculous amount of like LSD mixed with crystal meth, and like it's just like
Dark.
So it's like she is tripping while all this is happening.
So she doesn't really know what's happening.
That's why,
to her.
yeah. That's why when she, they said that when one of the girls survived, she said that like the man that took me had green snake hair. Like his hair was made of snakes, and it was because like it didn't make any sense to the detectives that were on the case. But once you like figure it out that like wow, these girls have been drugged, and so they don't really know what's going on, and then and then those horrible things happen to them. So
I don't want any horrible things in my fucking.
well, but the thing is I what I'm trying to get at is that I understand what you're getting at, that
right
at some point. You know, you've taken too much of whatever you've taken, and then you start to hallucinate.
You start to see some weird things, and I feel like most people think that that's a very bad, out of control, because I'm not doing it while I'm driving down the freeway. This is in my home, safe place, and sometimes around friends. And it can be some of the most pleasant experiences where you just start talking to people, you start opening up.
Yeah.
And I have learned that through this more than anything, because I haven't been doing it that long, man, like a year. And that's it. And I don't even like to go out and do it. It's weird to do that. I'm not there yet. Damn, you drink both cups of coffee. Fuck, you're going to make it to Subsea Prime on caffeine, man.
Yeah, I think so.
But here's things that we can think about. These friends making it there.
Right.
The struggle, almost the beer fest journey of training to get to this place could be funny. Them making it there, but then one person losing touch and pulling them out. Because say if one person goes into Subsea Prime and they're not linked up the correct way, and because maybe you got to keep smoking, you got to keep one guy back in reality, like slapping you back in and making sure you don't go too deep. So you're kind of rolling the dice while you're doing it. And if one person's more fucked up than the other, then he can have a negative trip, which you'll experience with everybody else, because sometimes you get connected.
Well, that's where I see the Nightmare on Elm Street connection.
Also, the people that they can meet. Because say you have a Tommy Chong who's up in Seattle doing a show, and he's backstage and he's in the slur phase in a chair somewhere because he's fucking high as balls, and he's in Subsea Prime. But he's there for weeks. But he's just really backstage for 15 minutes taking a cat nap before he does a show.
Right.
So you can have Tommy Chong on the freaking adventure. You can have some funny like person over in China who's experiencing it, which brings in so many different possibilities of characters.
That's interesting.
But everybody is afraid of only one problem. The Poodle King.
The Poodle King.
Who's the originator.
Okay.
And it's Tom fucking Hanks. That or it should be Jim Carrey. It should be Jim Carrey, because this guy's going off freaking, like, man, he's having a fun time. He's on this spiritual journey right now. If you watched any of his like stuff in his podcast lately that he's been guests on, he'd be perfect. And I think he would actually probably do the fucking movie if he had a say in it.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, Jim Carrey could be it. But Jim Carrey's like one of these guys that's just like, if you're not there to, I don't know, maybe you could help me with his idea. Like, he's there and he's happy that people are there, but only if they're there to experience what he's experiencing. And he wants to have this sense of rulership. Like, this is my area.
Well, yeah, he's like the engineer.
I've found this place. This
God.
is mine. I didn't create any of this. This is for anybody who can make it here.
Right.
But I own this shit. I'm the most powerful. I've tapped in. I know how to do it. So maybe these guys even have to like combine forces, kind of like a Ready Player One maybe, to take down the Poodle King.
Huh. Or in a sense too, it's like
this could be a movie.
Kind of
this
reminds
could be
me
a
of
Netflix show.
Kind of reminds me of Stephen King's It, where the Losers Club has to come together to take out Pennywise.
Right.
So,
and then like even throughout like an episode, if you do this as an episodic thing, they can meet up with like, oh, Snoop Dogg, you been there? Fuck Subs, he promised my shit, man.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is what you got to do. When you get to the lake of tampons, and you're just like, what the fuck is the lake of tampons? You picture like it's just crazy shit because you can think of anything, and
Right.
people can't dismiss it,
Right.
Because we don't know what's going on in subconscious. So you can basically create anything you want, and there's nothing somebody could say about it being like that's not factual. There's no facts to go off of.
yeah, but all right. So
Being weird,
the
for
Poodle
sake of
King
weird.
is the one that created everything,
No.
right?
Subsea Prime is a place that has always been inside of the human evolved brain, but we can only tap into a certain percentage of what the brain is capable of doing for a human being. Like they say, we use 8% of our brain.
Well,
What if there's a chemical balance that we can get to using plants grown from the planet, a diet, even alcohol can be thrown in there.
I know that they say that about how we only use like 8% of our brain, but actually, technically, we use all of our brain. What people are trying to get at is that there's certain parts of our brain, if they are more sensitive, if they're higher, there's a.
I get what you're saying, but how many people have heard what I just said? The 8% of your brain.
Yeah,
How
but-
many people have actually heard like what you're trying to describe, which having a hard time describing?
Right,
'Cause
but
not a lot of people have heard that.
Well, but the thing is that it's just like sometimes people are more sensitive to certain things and more receptive to certain things, and that's where it almost seems like you're at a different evolution of than over other people. But technically we do use all of our brain. So
Right.
I don't know. That's something to argue, because it can go back and forth.
I also like the fact that like if you have this group of say just 4 guys, group of 4, Ghostbusters, it's a good thing. 4-player games. Once they go to this place, they can be a projection of whatever they want to be. That can be funny in its own right, because it's just like, what do they see themselves when they're completely relaxed and at peace? Like, what's the hero that you see in your eyes?
Right.
That you want to be in your life?
That's the Ready Player One
Heck
scenario.
yeah, which I like that too.
Or, Jumanji just did it.
Jumanji just did it, which was weird because Jumanji didn't do that because no way some hot girl wanted to be some
Well, but
white guy.
what
fat
ends
white
up
guy.
happening is that like those were certain characters that
in
were
the game, and then they
game,
played
that's-
it. Yeah, but
they
this
played
is
it.
like, I don't want it to be like you can be Freddy Krueger or you can be Boom, but it's kind of like, I like pancakes, but I also like ninja movies, and I also like Godzilla, anything.
Yeah.
So in your subconscious, your person is a lizard man, and I'm going weird.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's where you can do with this.
Yeah.
What I also would want to do is just kind of with like the basis idea of kind of like what we're saying. But then if this is an episode thing, say 45-minute episodes, 30-minute episodes, directed by a different person each episode.
And it could also be a comic
Co-written.
book. It could
be a comic book series.
It could be a book series.
It could be anything.
Depending on how vast the story.
We're coming
renders
into a
out. I don't
time
know.
where they're making video game virtual reality movies. We're getting shows like Westworld, which is talking about something that we don't know a lot about yet, but there seems to be a lot of interest in subconscious. This is my Shaun of the Dead way to spin that, to not try to be factual,
Yeah.
because I'm too fucking stupid to come up with the facts. My way is to be like, there's probably going to be a movie about this someday that's going to be serious.
Yeah.
Let's hit them with the funny fucking one before that serious one comes out for a change. You had Night of the Living Dead, then we got the Shaun of the Dead, which is my favorite zombie film of all time.
Well-
That movie's got everything in it. It's sad, it's funny. I mean, dude, it's sad. Like in the end where he's just like lighting Ed's cigarette as he's bitten and he knows his friend's going to turn into a fucking zombie. And he's just like, I love you, man. He's like, gay, and then yet it's funny at the same time.
Right.
That's what I want in this movie.
Yeah.
Or whatever it becomes. But that's what I'm looking at. It just came out of nowhere. This was not the pitch that I was planning on doing whatsoever.
Well, that's pretty cool because the pitch that I said to you wasn't originally the pitch that I was going to say either. It was something that I had recently thought up, and I think that's where with a guest, you can expand it however. So cool, man. Well, thanks for pitching your idea.
Thanks for listening to it.
I think that Kron is what I'm going to go with for the title.
I just can't believe you fucking drank both those cups of coffee.
I'm going to drink another one, too.
Dude, man, your skin's going to melt off.
Well, thanks for being on the show again, bro. And
Muchas gracias.
and thanks for listening to Here Comes the Pitch.
Still sounds like a baseball fucking podcast.
Yeah, but it's a play on words. That's what it is.
It's a play on words.
It's also a fucking sport that people get paid millions of dollars to do.
Well, pitching? Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck? Those guys make like what? $265 million in a contract?
Yep.
It's crazy money.